Following program contains language and subject matter that you may consider unsuitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.
Greetings from His Highness the Jackal.
The Jackal.
I'm going to pass the reins to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
I think Jackal's Latino. I'm not sure, but he'll give it to you, Jeff.
The Jackal.
And we're back live on Inside the Jackal's Head right here on psn-radio.com and, of course, the world-famous SoFlo Radio and our good friends over at the Global Enlightenment Radio Network is also live listening, and they're jumping up and down saying, mention me, mention me. They're like the little engine that could, always marching up the hill, trying to make it and go all the way, and I love them for it. They're good peoples. In fact, with what's going on, you really should check out some of their podcasts. It's really good stuff. Jordan Maxwell is a good friend of that network, and we love Jordan here on the show. He's a good dude. He'll be on with us shortly. We were supposed to have him on, actually, not too long ago, and unfortunately could not get to him, and it's a shame, but he's going to be on pretty soon. He's in good health now. So, again, if you guys want to check out the podcast after the show, angelospino.com. That's the place to download this and all my other podcasts and archive, all there for free. But right now, I'm going to welcome the gentleman who's going to be on with the next for the next hour here with me, the one and only, right from inside the Goblin universe himself, Mr. Bryan M. Bowden, or should I say Sir Bryan Bowden?
Well, actually, I am. I am a knight. I'm a Knights Templar, so yeah, I do have a Sir title.
See?
Everybody's like, oh, sir, like, they think I'm being pretentious, but I'm actually a Knights Templar. And so sometimes I do use it. But yeah, it's Bryan, whatever. I answer anything. I'm a middle child, so I will answer to anything at this point.
I'll say this much. That wasn't prepped. He didn't tell me that. But my last name is Espino. That's Espino. I know. I'm psychic.
Yes. Yeah, it's really.
I picked it up on the ether, Bryan. That's what it was. I picked it up through the ether. I put it through my 8-track cassette, tape, and then it fed into my old school DOS computer, and then that went into my Windows 95, and that somehow crossed over into a multi-universe where it went into Windows 7, and then jumped into my brain, and I was like, "You were sure at some point, right?" And I was like,
yeah. I'm a sir sometimes. I do it on the podcast every once in a while because the guy I co-host, we have a couple of things. We have the Inside the Goblin Universe, which is our brand. It's our premiere show with Ron Murphy, who is Ron the Crypto Guru Murphy, mind you.
Yes, shout-outs to him.
He knows everything about, he is literally a parahistorian. He's cryptozoologist, research the whole nine. So when we were doing the show, I just, every once in a while, I'll throw Sir Bryan in there. And people think you're being pretentious, and there are certain individuals at another network that were trying to make fun of that. But the fact of the matter is, I am a sir. I'm a Sir Knight, and it's part of the Knights Templar. And I don't use it all the time. I don't call my wife lady. It just doesn't work that way. But
I so would if I was married and I was a sir and I was a knight. I'd so call my my lady. Could you pass the butter?
Right. My daughters think they are princesses. Anyhow, so. But you know what? As an American, I would never take a sir title because that you would relinquish your American lineage to that, because that's how the European, the English do it. But as a Knights Templar, you are global, and you fight the good fight for the good things.
And also, if you're going to use the sir title, you almost kind of have to develop the accent and start talking kind of British.
Bloody good. Sure.
Yes. I am so.
Different ones I can do for you, sir.
Now, speaking songs. Oh, that was pretty good. That was good. I like that. It was very believable.
I was underage drinking one summer, and we were working at a sleepaway camp. We had a lot of foreign counselors from the UK, and I'm playing pool in a bar in a very small town. And the chief of police rolls in. It's a raid to see the IDs. And he goes around and goes, "Oh, you the..."
Oh, we lost your cell. You there? think his signal is bad. I think we may have lost his signal. I'm sure he'll be back on in a second. Brian, are you there?
One,
Oh,
1, 2, 3.
There you go. You're coming back to me. I have to give you mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I'm sorry, my lips are a little chapped.
God,
You
no
okay?
problem. I figured they were chapped.
Yeah.
But when the guy turned to me, I was standing there. I was like, "Oh, I love it. It's great. Love being here." And all the English guys are looking at me like, "What the hell is this?" And I covered my, you know what.
Well, hopefully you covered it with
it's still
something
there.
large. I'm just saying that you didn't cover it like with one hand, not one cup, right?
No, I pulled something out to, I'm 16 drinking in the bar when the drinking age is 21. You got to cover your butt these days. But
Yeah, literally in some places.
oh yeah, literally in some places.
Now I'm sure
Unless you're on the left side of the street where they do it.
That's true. Oh, if you're in San Francisco, maybe, perhaps, some places down there.
Oh no.
I'm not going to get stereotypical. I hate to do that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's a very liberal part of the state.
Look, I grew up in a time when talking about Democrats, my mother, like, "Are you registered Democrat?" I'm like, "Why?" And they say, "Because you get to vote in more elections." I'm like, but it was a different type of party.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this.
No.
It was definitely more aware of other people's needs and helping versus what was there. But this is not even, I mean, they shouldn't even put Democrat in anything. It's not democratic whatsoever. And, as someone who started off his career doing some work for the IMF and World Bank and a little bit of the WHO, the UN, it's a joke. It really is. People have no clue what they're doing. They're getting their information in 30-second sound bites from YouTube or Facebook or someplace. It's telephone. Someone says one thing, by the time it gets to everybody, it's totally different. And it's bad, and no one's educated enough to realize it at this point. So
look what the president's going through right now, Brian, with the whole scandal that's breaking out with supposedly he didn't go to a cemetery because he said they're losers, and I don't like dead people when they die and they're losers. He never said that. And what are their sources? Well, they're anonymous. Oh, how convenient. And everybody who was there said, "Yeah, we never heard him say that." Even what was his name, Brannon, who hates his guts, wrote a book about it, or Bannon, or whatever his name is.
Yep.
John Bannon. Even he said, "I never heard that. Like that didn't happen." Like, and he's not a Trump supporter, so I mean, if anybody would have jumped on that boat and said, "Yeah, he said it," you would expect for him to be at least that guy, right?
Right. Well, here's the thing. So politically. And I did run for president once when Obama was running the first round. I didn't get enough stuff in, but I got, I think, on the ballot of South Carolina and North Carolina. And
so you're like Kanye West, in other words. You got in, but not really.
Right. No, well, I got some votes, apparently. I guess because down south it's Bobby Bowden, and it's, I think there is a family member there that we're connected somehow. Because if you're down south, it's Bryan Bowden. If you're up north, it's Bowden. But the bottom line is that, I bought my buddy, one of my best friends from school, his name's Hector Collazo. And if you're a comic book guy, you know who he is because he worked for Marvel in D.C. And, we ran...
In Cuba, they'll call him Hector Collazo, by the way. Hector Collazo. In Cuba, he'll be Hector Collazo.
Hector Collazo. Yeah, he was just Hector. He was really, it was a time where people of all race, creeds, and colors were more educated.
Yeah.
They were aware of their history and what to look out for. And like I said, politically, though, I mean, if I really had to put myself in a category, it would be a Jeffersonian liberal, a true liberal, which is more libertarian right now. It's like, look, you keep the country safe. Don't tax us to the wazoo and let us do our business, and we're good. And that's where I would be. The term liberal bugs me. Both Democrat and Republican bugs me because they're all in the same party. Don't be fooled by the different colors and the jackass and the elephant. But there are select people in this world that are doing a better job. And when I worked in Wall Street on trading floors, we did business. We did business for the Trump Corporation, Donald Trump. We know how he operates. He surrounds himself with the best of the best, depending on what he's doing. And he has his brakes on, which is his sons and daughter. And they really keep him in check. But we did business for him and against him. I mean, at one point, we seized his cruise ships. That was fun.
No kidding.
No kidding. He defaulted on a bond, big time, and he put up the cruise ships as collateral. We had to wait till they got into a U.S.-based port so we could take them, or something to that effect. And I was like, do we call a tow truck for this? How the hell do we get in a cruise ship? But he eventually paid up. You got to understand, when you're born into wealth, you're in a totally different class as far as financially. You have so many more breaks allotted to you tax-wise. And it's not like he's getting any special treatment. It's just the fact that he's wealthy and you're not. And it's
right. And people don't understand that because people make a big deal about his tax returns and this and that. And they were able to pull off the 2005 tax returns. And I laughed so hard when Rachel Madcow came on MS Bullshit, and she was like, we got his tax returns. Oh my God, we're going to debut this on air. Apparently she didn't proofread them, and like an idiot, she should have, because in there he had like paid more taxes than CNN and MSNBC. He had paid more taxes in 1 year than these big corporations that are on TV feeding you lies, people. He paid more taxes than them.
Well,
some of them combined, it was incredible. They got nothing.
They got nothing. And it's very funny because growing up in New York City, where I'm born and raised, and I still live there, I've known Donald Trump since I can, who's that? That's Donald Trump. I've seen him, and he's basically a Democrat. He's registered as a Democrat. He was a Democrat. He probably still is.
Correct, yeah.
And everybody loved him because he gave money to every campaign. Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter.
Yep.
There wasn't any race problems, no race issues. He did have more of a platform because of who he was, so he got to speak a little bit more. But there was nothing really racial about any of this stuff.
He won an award with Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali. It was the Civil Rights Award for, the Easter Island Award, I think is the name of the Easter Island or something like that. And it was an actual award that there's a picture of him and Rosa Parks. All right, the lady who refused to go to the back seat in the bus. Remember that, folks? Yes. Okay,
a real person worth rallying around.
Right, a beautiful human being who made a hell of a movement that really sparked and caused something that was important and needed to happen at that time. And he won an award with her there, and with the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, when he was still kind of sane. And by the way, they were good friends at the time, him and Trump. There's a lot of folks that don't know this, but there's pictures all over the place of them together at events. Trump was a huge sporting fanatic for years.
Yes.
Which is crazy, the fact that they hate the sports world just like turned on him. And he's such a huge supporter over like the last 40 years of these sports institutions that now turn their backs because they all want to go woke. They all want to have this moment with the Black Lives Matter. They all want to like bow to China. And this guy who's been a supporter for decades and has been, friendly. He's been at events. Even the rappers, I mean, for goodness, Brian, all these artists and entertainers. I remember 50 Cent and Eminem had him on an MTV show about a decade and a half ago, and they were pimping him like he was their best friend. And he did the whole spiel. He said Eminem was going to be president, all kind of things. Like he was mentioning like how many rap songs we want to be like Donald Trump. We want to be rich. I mean, everybody loved the guy, like you said. But as soon as he beat Hillary, it flipped. The entire planet flipped. It's amazing.
Well, it was funny. Something that people took for advantage of Trump is Obama started making fun of him at the foreign press dinner that they did.
Right.
They really went off on him.
Yep.
And Trump had a look, and you poked the bear, and the bear came out swinging, and no one. I remember we were doing some kind of a couple of buddies of mine. I was at a lodge. We're doing a rehearsal type of thing, and then we come downstairs. It's election night. There's about 4 of us. Turn on the TV, and the map's red. Okay, and we kind of just froze, and we kind of looked at each other like, "Holy crap, this guy's going to win!" And he did, because the people on his team did real polling. There's all these people that are now on the left-hand side of the block have this thing. If they wish it long enough, if they think it long enough and say it long enough, it's true. But no, it's not. And in order for him to win, a lot of those people that said they weren't voting for him voted for him. Times right now are totally different. This election coming up between, I can't even believe these people put this person up there on the left-hand side, the Biden thing. I'm going to say it straight up. You're voting at this point. When you cast that vote, you better think, because if you want communism, go with Biden. If you want freedom, you have to go with Trump. And when, like I said, I did a lot of work at the UN. I mean, it's a joke that China is on the Human Rights Council. I mean, this is a country that murdered, during this China virus, almost 22 million of its people. Okay? 22 million people. They did it very quietly. They released 21 million cell phones were deactivated in China. Okay? That's their lifeblood. That is what every Chinese person needs to check in every day.
Not only that, the full-on gong. I'm pretty sure they slaughtered them for years. I mean, they've been going after these folks for a long time.
Right, and then there was 860,000 that had the virus out of the Wuhan. They wrangled up. This was reported way back when this first, the COVID stuff started going bonkers here, February, March.
Yep. That
they believed they were viewing mass graves on fire in China. Okay? But if you think about it, 21,860,000 people no longer exist in China. This nation sells body parts. This nation doesn't care about anything except for the people that are in the CCP. And the funny thing is, the Chinese people themselves, they don't take really part of it. Very few do. They just exist. Leave them alone. They do what they do. It's just a sad state of affairs that so many people are bowing down or suckling at the teat of China at this point for money that's really is meaningless. And this goes along with this whole, oh my God, I have a problem with any officer, no matter who it is, because I have a law enforcement family here, that does anything that shouldn't, people shouldn't be killed. We had Eric Gardner, New York City, selling Lucy's, and an over-aggressive idiot of a police officer, type A, choked him down. They should go to jail, okay? But, and I agree with this. I don't know what it's like to be a person of color. I'm not that. I can sympathize with you, but I don't know what it's like, and I'm not going to know what it's like in this lifetime. And I was supportive of the fact that, yes, you got to stop this police brutality. But the minute you go from protesting, a real protest, to rioting, looting, and fires and destruction, you're done. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Your message is gone.
The thing that really gets to me, though, is there are cases, Brian, where it's clear that the police officer went too far, but there are other cases where the police officer was justified, and they're still being crucified, like the Jacob Blake situation. I mean, this is a clear, justifiable shooting, 100%. I don't care, what they come up with and they charge these officers with.
Right.
The officer had a man who had a warrant out for his arrest. The man was there to beat up his girlfriend, who called the police, said that he had beat her up, he had assaulted women before, he has a long rap sheet, he resisted arrest, walked around a car that he was about to steal. That's why he was there, to steal the car that did not belong to him,
right,
with 3 kids in the car and a weapon. They found the knife inside the car. So, and he said verbally, and this has been confirmed, that he's going to get the knife. Now, if you're a police officer and somebody who tells you that who's under arrest at this point, I'm going to get the knife, and they start walking around a car, and you tell them, stand down,
Yep.
and you give them all this time to walk around, reach in and grab the weapon, and you're still telling him stop, and he's still doing it, shoot him in the back, shoot him wherever, shoot him. Because at this point, it's either your life or that life. And I'm sorry, I understand that the officers sometimes have to take the worst measures of available, and taking a life is horrible, but he wants to get back to his family too, and he doesn't know if he has a knife or a gun. All he knows is this man has put his life and the life of the other officers in danger, and the fact that the people are even contemplating putting any kind of charges to these cops is ridiculous to me. I mean, this is beyond insanity. Look, this is the way I see it. Is there racism? Yeah, there's always going to be racist. You can't stop that. You can't stop anybody from saying, end this or end that, or you white honky, or you speak, or, whatever. People are going to say stuff because people are stupid. You condition people over time, and you show them there's a better way, and you show them through unity and love and all that stuff. But there's certain times where you have to look at these situations as a case by case matter, and not judge every police officer the same because of one bad apple, like what happened with George Floyd. Who, again, George Floyd, career criminal, abusive to women, drug dealer, drug addict,
high in fentanyl,
not
really in his right mind.
Correct. Passed a fake $20 bill,
yeah.
and he not only that, Brian, and I'll let you get on this, but this is a guy who was in prison for holding up a woman who was pregnant and stealing her jewelry and hitting her with a gun. I'm sorry, he wasn't a nice guy. Not a guy to get the Michael Jackson treatment, where they took him around in this car and they paraded him on TV like he was the king of pop. I'm sorry, he was not that important. He was a scumbag. The cop did wrong. Derek Chauvin should go to jail. But you know what? All he did was a police tactic, which is used a lot with whites, blacks, anybody who's resisting arrest.
Everybody.
This guy was resisting arrest. He made a move. It's not his fault that Mr. Floyd, Saint Floyd is the one to coin him now, it's not his fault that he was high on drugs and his heart stopped beating. Normally that doesn't happen. That's once in a lifetime, and it just so happened to happen to this guy.
Well, it's. I agree with you. The knee on the neck for 7 minutes is just uncalled for. They have him down on the ground and what have you. But I also want to point out, and I'm not just pointing to him, but there are situations, you had a lot in your neck of the woods down in the Sunshine State, where when kids and people were using salts and smoking them or ingesting salts to get high, which chemically change your body into, like, you become a monster, and the strength level and the adrenaline going through your system, you are extremely strong. So
we had a guy eat a bum's face, Brian. Remember that story?
Yep. There's a guy that climbed into a car and I think tried to bite the face off another person. It's insane what goes on. But again, you look at George Floyd, who really isn't the model person to be doing this, rallying around, compared to a Rosa Parks, who was tired. She wanted just to sit, and she had to go through the BS down, which shouldn't have been in place to begin with. And what people I had a debate with some guy on Twitter because Independence Day is racist, apparently, and the Star Spangled Banner is racist. And I'm like, no, it's about the War of 1812, and Independence Day isn't racist. And if you knew your history, there was a large percentage of the men involved in creating this great nation that wanted everybody, including the people that were slaves, to be free. But there was a larger portion that they needed to have a union against Great Britain that said no deal. And they would have lost everything. We'd be speaking bloody English right now. So
we were all united.
Yes. Look, I don't know how many people can trace their lineage back to actual slaves. My family in general never owned slaves whatsoever. I don't feel reparations are the where it should be. What I think people need to wake up and realize is that if you really don't have power, if you don't think as people of color in this nation that you have any power or a hold over anybody, then what you really need to do, and I told this to my friend, we used to have this conversation in high school all the time, like, you don't have power, you don't know what my friend Donnie Ray used to go, you don't know what it's like to be black and be persecuted. I'm like, okay, great, we're Jews, we killed Jesus. Game, checkmate. But I said, if you really don't think you have power, okay, have every person of color walk off the job for one day.
Yep.
This country would shut down. That's one.
Yep.
And this is well before we had a president for 8 years that was black.
Uh-huh.
Please, people, we're not idiots or fools. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. There'll always be racism, and it's in every culture, race, and creed. It's all over. Okay?
Yep.
If you really want to talk about slavery, let's go to overseas. Okay, to a lot of the Arab states, Libya.
Forget that. If you want to talk about reparations and slavery, you have to look no further than Kamala Harris. Her family in Jamaica owned slaves. So if you want reparations, talk to the possible vice president. Her family literally was in the slave trade. Not only that, Brian, guess what? She's not even African American, because to be African American, you have to be from Africa at some point, or your ancestry, right? Guess what? No, her mom is Indian, her dad's Jamaican, but if you go deep enough, they're from India. They're Indian Jamaican. So you have two sets of Indians. Where's the African?
Talk about class system in India. Go talk about that too.
Oh,
because
Lord.
Then you're going to open up another ball of wax. The bottom line here is we have a lot of people here who are flying off the handle. We have people that want this disruption because it's good for their financial background and gain. George Soros, I'm sorry,
Rothschild, yeah,
right? Yeah, and these people are being used like condoms, and they don't even realize it. Now, I've been alive for 52 years. And my first president, I think...
That's very brave of you, saying that on the air.
Yes. Jimmy Carter was the first president Jimmy Carter, Gerald Ford. I watched the peace deal between the Palestinian Liberation Organization and Israel. Okay, so, and I've heard all these debates and speeches and blah, 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 and promises. And I'm going to tell you something straight up. The only president that I've ever witnessed that campaigned on stuff and got 99.999% of it done in the first 30 days is 45. He is the only president I've ever seen. He campaigned, he said he's going to do it. He did it in the first 40 days. He worked.
Yep.
As soon as they swore him in, he
was done.
back to the office
he was working.
and did it.
Yeah, he started. I remember they were talking about that in the news, Brian. They were saying the first minute that he was sworn in, we went in right to work. Like it was like a machine. Exactly. They had never seen it, something like that.
Not only that, we have people of color in my family. It does, we don't look at it that way. That's just Joe or whatever. If you want to talk about the one and only president besides Lincoln, who has done more for the people of color in this world and different races, and it is 45.
Yep.
The first thing he did in the first, I think, month, he brought in all these community organizers, these leaders, into the Oval Office and said, how can we fix this? He literally said, how can we fix this? He treats people like human beings. He generally wants everybody in this country to do better and to be something so they're not on the dole. Because when you're given stuff, you don't understand what it takes to make it. But when you start making money and you start becoming successful, there's pride involved in that. You feel you've accomplished stuff. He wants everybody on the same level. It's not a black and white issue. It's not a black, brown, and white issue. He wants everybody to do well. Yep. He's not the most eloquent speaker in the world, but you know, and you know, part of this stuff, I agree with a lot of you where you were saying, you know, the China virus. I thoroughly believe it was released when it first was released. Something very interesting. It seemed to be targeting Asians from the Pan-Asian, a specific group, which is basically Hong Kong. Yep. Okay, because there was big uprising in them. Yep. And I think they just said, "Screw it, let's let it go," because they had this. They knew they had the support of certain individuals globally.
Oh yeah, no, not only that. You know, I talked about how New York was a hub for this thing. You remember back in, I think it was November of last year, they arrested 4 nationals from China. They were here in the U.S. and they arrested a teacher from Harvard University, and these folks were heading to China with COVID-19, and that's when Trump was briefed on what was going on. And what did he do? He said he arrested them, exactly. But he said, okay, we don't have any cases of any outbreaks here. And they took these people in and they started interrogating them, getting information. January rolls around, you know, the world starts getting the feel of what's happening. What did he start doing? He started saying, I think there's a problem in Houston. We have to shut this down. No more flights in or out of China. And everybody was like, "Yep, he's a racist." I can't believe he's saying that. He's such a xenophobe. Yep. Oh my God! He got hit by
both parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, but he did the right thing.
Correct. He saved thousands of lives. But
he did. And another thing, I know that people hate this guy so much that they just can't even get past the hatred. That you see the logic. He does something that no one really does anymore. He had brainstorm meetings regarding this virus, and you know, he was following what was going on, and I've been following it long before he was, about what was taking place around the globe trying to combat this.
Well, you weren't fighting impeachment, you weren't fighting, you know, one hoax after the other, and you know, you weren't running the country and the world at that point. You had a little bit more time, I think, that he does to follow everything, single thing that's happening. You know, he's a busy guy.
What was interesting is he came up with the HCQ thing with the Z-Pack. And
hydrochloroquine, hydroxychloroquine. By the way, I've taken it myself because I suffer from lupus, and no joke, hydroxychloroquine. I took that about 2005 or 6 around there. I was given it, and I took it for about 2 or 3 years. I never had any side effects. In fact, my lupus went away for a while, and it didn't go away because it never really goes away. But I didn't have any, like, you know, major reactions or anything, so I got off of it for a while. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago where it flared up again, but it was due because I've had, you know, other health issues and personal stuff, and usually that kind of makes it flare up. And I went through a thyroid issue because of my lupus. So you listen to my earlier podcast a few years ago, and you hear me now, my voice has changed dramatically. I spent some time off the air because of it. But it's something that I'm managing, and I'm actually about to get back on hydroxychloroquine because I do have lupus. So for those who everybody's on it now because everybody's afraid of the Kung Flu. But and of course, you know, the radical left are like, don't take it, it's poison. No, it's not. It's been around for decades.
Years, right?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, think about it. It's gone through all the clinical testing. It's been approved by the FDA. This is not something that just magically appeared because Trump was like, hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, they put it on the market, $5. Go, make me some money. No, that's not what happened.
Right. It's over the counter. It was over the counter in Europe. You could have just walked in and bought it. Yep. Because people going traveling for malaria purposes, you take it. Now, the problem is not the HCQ. With the arrhythmia, they're talking about the heart problems. The problem really comes from the Z-Pack. which they came out with that information probably around October, November, or something like that. They were talking about how people who take erythromycin may have heart palpitations.
Right.
Actually, maybe it was a year earlier because I was taking it because my wife and I kind of felt like we had something like the flu. I don't do the flu shot at all because it's a joke.
Yeah, don't do it.
It gets me even more sick. But
yeah.
It kind of felt like the flu. There was breathing issues and whatever. Everything described for this virus, I felt about a year and a half ago.
Yep.
We took the Z-Pack. It took a little bit longer to get rid of the chest stuff, but it worked. That's the one that causes the real palpitation problems.
Correct.
And mind you, I'm not a doctor, although I play one on TV. I always want to say that. But you know what? There's other medicine that will, that I was working right now that's not HCQ, but it's still, there's something about it. And the person that everybody went to, Dr. Fauci, the idiot, Mr. I'll move the goalpost whenever I want. He wrote a paper in 2005 for the health, and it said as a prophylactic, HCQ seems to stop the SARS-2 virus. It prevents it in prophylactic. You can give it like 100 milligrams Tuesday and then another 100 milligrams Thursday. If you have it, it seems to reverse it quickly and cure you of it. And even if you're on a ventilator, it seems to get you off the ventilator and then get you on the road to recovery. So this really does seem designed politically. And the only reason why we talk about this COVID thing, I mean, if you want to get into the little paranormal side, is none of us have been able to go out and do any paranormal stuff. We can't I can't go investigate anything with cryptids. You can't go to, because it's only 3 people at a time.
Can you imagine if there's like ghost haunting places and they're like, where are the people? Like, hello, people, we're here.
Go?
Well, everybody, you guys used to investigate us. Now we're nobodies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head in the first hour of this program with, that woman that was talking to Joe Biden. I get being angry. I understand it. Because the people that you put your faith in and you trust in, which are usually the community organizers, it's a power structure. They need to be empowered to say that they helped you. But they haven't been doing anything to help you. Going back to the whole thing. You were right. 40, 50, 60 years worth of these people as Democrats. Where have you gotten? You've got nothing to lose to actually expand your mind and open it up. And this is why I see, and my friends are diverse. And I hear it from them, and I see it from other people, and I've been reading it online. There's a lot of people that are walking away and are waking up because this current president, whether you like him or not, is treating people of color like people. Equals. Just like what this woman wanted in Kenosha. Okay? You want to be treated like equal? Well, the guy that's in office right now is going against, everybody is against him. Doesn't matter if the Republican or the Democrat. But he's treating people like people. Not by based on your sex or your gender. But he's helping people. He's the most jobs created for women ever.
He's the most inclusive president, I think, that we've had in many decades. I mean, honestly.
Yes. And if you took 2 seconds and you stopped with your derangement of this guy and listed everything this man has done while under attack, I mean, God bless the guy, because he's done so much, so many, and people they don't hear it, they don't see it. They're just so enraged over hearsay, and just take a look at what he's done. And I'm telling you, this guy really does give a crap. Unfortunately, most other people don't. Mm-hmm. These people don't care about you. Nancy Pelosi doesn't give a damn about you.
Nancy Pelosi cares about 2 things.
Her nephew Gavin, right, wouldn't have milked the state of California for trillions of dollars.
Yeah. Well, she cares about 2 things: chocolate ice cream and getting her hair done.
Yeah. Well, her and what's her name out in Chicago, another idiot who starts talking about the New World Order, which
which one? Lori Lightfoot.
Oh my God. Yes.
Beetlejuice, as I call her, by the way. And speaking of paranormal, she looks like she straight up came out of like the underworld, Brian. I mean, like something's going on with her face.
The creature in the Black Lagoon. And I don't mean
serious.
Look at the creature of the Black Lagoon, the original one, and look at her, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the same person.
I was skeptical on aliens, and then I saw Lori Lightfoot, and I was like, nope, the aliens exist.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I just don't understand. I mean, we have it in New York with this mayor who's a complete idiot, and whose wife is lost, and I put in quotes, $850 million. Yeah, she lost.
You know what that dimwit did, and on taxpayer money, and this should piss off everybody in New York, Brian. This is earlier this year. He took police officers to his daughter's apartment, dozens of cops, dozens and dozens of cops, to help her move.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Now, that's on your taxpayer money in New York. He helped her move to a new apartment. So he had police officers who need to be on the streets fighting crime, helping her move on his order. And this is the same little armpit hair having daughter with a little puff on her head, looks like a troll. Same daughter who's a member of Antifa and Black Lives Matter and was protesting and rioting and got arrested for it.
And what university did she graduate from? And what university is Dante?
Was it at Harvard? Wasn't it?
Yeah. So they have, poor me because I'm black, and poor me because I'm mixed, and poor me. Now, you can't go to Harvard and say poor me, okay? You can't. And it's look, I know people. I have a couple of friends that used to live in some of the craziest, scariest shelters you could ever imagine, and they don't complain. They're happy. They're working. They have a good job. They worked up their way up. It's not like they're CEO or anything. They're making money. They get to go on vacation. They get to buy a place, and life is good. People, you got to work for some things. And I agree. I'm a corporate guy, okay? I'm very much a capitalist. I think we need to get rid of the corporation. Should not have a say in anything we do. They should not have the rights that the court gave them. There should be no corporate money. If there's no corporate money, life would be better for everybody. Trust me on that one.
Yep. Well, I agree, but remember, at the end of the day, what's good about a capitalist society as we live it is the fact that we all get a chance to go out and start our own companies and be our own bosses and have mom and pop stores, and everybody has a chance to grow their own companies. And what saddens me, Brian, is every time there's an uprising or something where people feel the need to start some shit, the ones who always pay the price are these poor folks who are, they're spending their lives earning, their lives, on these little companies, these little businesses. They're like really putting their hearts and souls into it. To have some group who are being fed by these evil people, these evil oligarchs, and these individuals like the Soros of the world, that are literally paying them, the mayors, to get them out of prison without any charges. I mean, this is one big RICO act, is what this is. Yeah. And they're letting this loose on the streets, and the people that are, the mom and pop stores are the ones that always suffer every single time. They don't go after the big chain corporations, and when they do, they make a big deal about it. Like they burned down a Nike store. Oh my God, it was the biggest deal. But they don't talk about the other like 25 stores that got looted and robbed that were owned by black folks. They don't talk about those stores.
You know how heartbroken I was when you're seeing the aftermath of the looting, and there's this elderly black woman that's like put her heart and soul in the store. She's a partner in it. It's gone. She's got nothing. You got another guy that took everything he had to open up a bar, and while they were interviewing him, they were trying to loot and pull his safe out. Then, how is this helping anybody? This doesn't help anybody. I'm not saying you should loot it at all. Maybe we should rise up and join together as everybody, we the people, because right now it looks like we the sheeple, and it's a sad state, because I think people are looking at this country like, wow, there's a lot of idiots here. I mean,
If you were an alien from another planet, Brian, would you come down if you're like snooping around and being like, "Let's see if the humans are ready"? Nope.
It's a known fact that the aliens, when they fly by the Earth, they lock the doors.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise them. You know why Batman and Robin don't leave Gotham? Because if they go to a lot of other cities, by the time they finish, committing their crime and they get back to the Batmobile, they'll be looking at each other and be like, "Why is the car on a lift? What happened to the Batmobile?" Like,
exactly.
Who stole the wheels on this motherfucker? Like, Robin, did you lock the Batmobile?
This has affected everybody in a negative way.
Yeah.
I got friends that work; they're experts in bioterrorism and weapons for the government. Mm-hmm. And I asked one of he's like a brother to me. I said, "Why is this? Why this is a class 2 virus? Why is it being treated like a class 4?" And he had no question. Said there's something else going on here. And he said, no. Well, he changed his tune about a month and a half in after that. And he goes, yeah, something else is going on. And I think this is a what people don't realize is we're really at the point of no return.
Yep.
There isn't going to be, if you think you're going to get a fair shake and you're going to get housing and you're going to get this and life is going to go back to the way it was where you can say and do what you want, it ain't going to happen. You're going to be locked up with the rest of them. Yep. They don't care about anybody but the 1%ers or the half of the percent of the 1%. There is no white privilege. I'm sorry, there is no white privilege. I sure as hell don't have it. I'd like to know where it was because I didn't have it. My father was blue collar working. My mother worked. I was a latchkey kid. Where's this? Where's this magical thing that they talk about? Because it doesn't exist. People are fed lines. They're being deceived. They're being hoodwinked, and they don't know what the ramifications of if this country goes. That gentleman that talked from Cuba, I believe he was talking at a conference with the president saying, this is the dream. This is where we want to be. This is why there's people lined up south of the border trying to get in here. Yeah. Okay? Because America is the only nation that where you can take hard work and labor, and it's maybe a struggle for some people, but you can make it. You can be something. Okay? And we lose this, we're done. This election is so crucial. I fear for the future. I fear for my children at this point because this is really important. And you may not like what this guy's doing right now, but it's going to be a hell of a lot worse when the other guy comes in.
Oh, you hit it right on the head. And it's not, and for me, it's not that I think a lot of folks don't like what this guy's doing right now. I think they're just believing a false narrative, because if they really did their own homework and they saw the things he's done, like you said, he has done more for a lot of communities that have been for a long time ignored. And I think that's why he won in 2016. There was a big push, by the silent majority who had been ignored for a long time in this country. Yep. And a lot of that are not just white folks. A lot of them is Latinos like myself. I walked away. In fact, if you go to my website, I have on the affiliates tab a big banner for hashtag walk away. And I'm a big believer in that because I was a voter for the Democrat Party. In fact, I was a registered Democrat for a couple of decades. And as soon as I started to get wind of what was going on, I walked away. And this happened in 2015 for me. Happened due to my mother's health, who passed away of cancer in 2016. But when she was getting really, really sick, something happened that, with Obamacare kicking in and all that stuff that was going on, it really triggered some bad events that led to the speeding up of her cancer, and she died a lot quicker than she probably would have had certain medicines been cleared. They were cleared before Obamacare kicked in. So there's, I have that that pain because of what Obamacare did, and he lied about a lot of those things. And then I started doing my own homework, and I was like, this dude lied about this, that, this. He basically everything he said he was going to do, he did the opposite. All the change was about was come help a Negro get elected. That's all that was about. There was no change at all in there, folks. None. That was all BS. It was a lie, and he was a setup for Hillary, who was going to make shit a lot worse. Luckily, Trump came in, and I said this in the beginning. What this country's needs is a person who's a business person who can get us back on track in trade negotiations. Who's a billionaire who cannot be bought off because he already has money. He doesn't need to do this shit. That's why Ross Perot got popular a few years ago, a couple decades back, because of the fact that he was an outsider and people saw him as that. But then, of course, he went nutso on everybody with, I'm all ears, and my daughter was abducted by aliens, which back then was like, this guy's nuts. Now we'll be like, yeah, we believe you.
Yeah, well, here's the deal with Ross Perot, and what happened was he did want to, he said we need that third party, we need a different view and whatever, and people were all on board of it, and I think it came to a point where he got scared because he was going to win, and he knew the players in this field. They get rid of people left and right without even thinking about it. I mean, just look at the list the Clintons have, But that being said, it's like, we definitely need somebody in there that can't be bought and can get the job done. And I think we do have somebody in there. Here's the thing. There's a couple different ways you can govern a nation, right? You can tax the crap out of them, which is the way we've been going, okay? And our taxes go up, and then you pretend you do tax cuts, but they're not really tax cuts. It only helps the 1%.
Right.
Or what we used to do, where we didn't have income tax, was tariffs. And Trump did a good job in renegotiating all these deals where now there are tariffs there. This is why you have the greatest tax cuts ever.
Yeah.
People have more money in their pocket now because of what he did. We had a better economy. And I studied finance. I know how the economies work, and I know that every time you take a point off of the Fed, the lending, and it takes 6 months before that kicks in. Okay? He took an economy, and it wasn't inflated like it is a bit now because he's trying to fix the damage that these people created.
Right.
With this shutting down. But we were zooming. We were flying high. Manufacturing was coming back. People were moving back to the country. More jobs were coming in. More people with high school diplomas or non-high school diplomas were being employed. I mean, there's so much this guy's done. And that's, let alone the fact that he has been on point of stopping sex traffic.
Yes.
We're not just talking about women. There are women. I've seen videos,
Children.
mothers and daughters out, and this guy's trying to take the daughter in the store.
Yep.
Children.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's really been on point. I mean, they just uncovered like almost 200 kids all over, I think, the East Coast for the most part, in trailers and whatever. This is what this president is doing. If you really think this guy's bad or evil, well, you better check yourself. You're crazy. Yeah, he tweets too much. Big deal. I'm sorry, but when you're a world leader, you need somebody in there that has, part of the expression, big balls, and is brash and can get it done.
He's got the cojones, that's for sure. And it's funny because the moment he got into office, the first thing he talked about was that he's going to work on the human trafficking issue, which that is a nightmare. And why do you think Hollywood hates him so much? Because they're all in on it. Not every single actor, but a good percentage of those actors, the elitists, the Tom Hanks of the world, those kind of level actors, they're in on it. Oprah, Harvey Weinstein, they're all connected. They're all connected to Jeffrey Epstein and other groups out there that are sick-minded. Look what happened to Corey Haim, Corey Feldman. I mean, God bless them, what they went through. But look, this is crazy because it really does harken on a paranormal level almost. The total destruction of the institutions that we have. And now we haven't really talked about it much, but I know that you haven't been able to get out there and do any investigations. So this is even like stopping your kind of work.
You know
So
what? We were supposed
it's affecting
to do
everybody.
This year. Yeah, this year we were supposed to do a lot of conferences.
Yeah.
I joined a talent appearance management company called Corridor 13, which kicks butt. You know, it's great. With Ron's a part of it. We were supposed to do a bunch of different conferences, not only in the U.S., but outside of the U.S. And, you know, I have a book that we're in the process of writing another a book right now that's going to be great, dealing with UFOs, aliens, Nephilim, and a bunch and Native Americans and stuff. And
cool.
I'll talk if you want us on. Well, I'll tell you about it on the side once it's out. But you know.
Definitely we'll have you back on. We'll discuss the book.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get into that.
It's going to be a fantastic book.
Awesome.
But
God willing, we're alive, because you never know.
That's fine. you know, we were set to do a lot of stuff, and you know, Ron has a ton of books out, and a lot of these people make their money, you know, meeting the public and discussing with them. They sell some books, they autograph them. Plus, you give a couple good kick-ass presentations, and it's fun. This is part of it. It's not the fame. I'm not here for any fame. I'm here for answers. I want to know about aliens. I want to know. I've had my experience with Bigfoot in the woods and some other things that go bump in the night, like Dogman, which is a lichen, werewolf. You know, I've had my experience with that. I still want answers. Every time I think I've gotten the whole Bigfoot thing down, something else takes place. I'm like, I'm back to square one. But that's what I want. That's why I do what I do. If something comes up like a TV show or a book or whatever, it is what it is. You know, but we're not able to do any of these things. We can't go anyplace. He's in Western PA. I'm in New York. If you go into certain states, they stop you, and then you got to check in and quarantine for 15 days. This is affecting everybody's life. It's scaring the hell out of people. My youngest is 9. She was having, she thought she couldn't breathe. She thought she had the virus. She had heartburn, anxiety. I mean, people, you're being lied to. There is a virus. We have someone we know personally that has passed from it. But it is the same type of response as if it was influenza and pneumonia. Okay? You still have to be cautious, but you shouldn't have shut down an economy. You should have let us paranormal guys go out and hunt these things. And life should have continued.
Yep.
There's no reason for this. And
by the way, Andrew Cuomo needs to be in prison because that person put literally how many sick people in with old patients in hospice centers and in
I don't
these
know
hospitals.
If it was
he killed
100 or 58,000. But
no, it was several thousand people that got sick and died because of Andrew Cuomo.
Oh.
So that man has blood on his hands. He belongs in prison.
Yep, he does. The news media is so. If you ever watch it, look, there's a lot of conspiracy theory, but when you can see every station saying the same story over and over again, verbatim, you're being lied to.
Yes.
Television. Come on. You know what? And you're not getting the... I remember a time when they actually just reported the news. They didn't express an opinion or take a side. Okay? People ask me, because I'm... my view is different than everybody else's. Oh, what do you watch, Fox News? I said, frankly, I don't watch Fox News. I get my news from dozens of different news sources around the planet. From Italy, from Russia, from Japan, you have to go hunt and peck there if you really want the true story.
I do like Tucker Carlson, though. He's good on Fox News. He's cool. Tucker Carlson?
Oh, Tucker Carlson for president, because he calls out both parties.
Yes.
And he tells it like it is.
Yeah.
And people don't want to hear that. But it's true.
Yep.
It's just, we've taken crazy pills. We've drinking a ton of ayahuasca, and people are nuts. And now we need to go and fix this. Yeah,
as one of my friends call it, the beer bug. We're all drinking the beer bug.
Oh, my God. It's just, and it's frustrating because it's, the best thing that came out of this is people actually, you got a few, you'll never get a timeout like this again to reflect on what you have and what's really important. That's one. And two, people now know they have to wash their freaking hands. If you've ever been into a bathroom and you see people go to the bathroom and then walk out, they're the reason why there's disease in this world. Clean your damn hands.
Oh, man, I love having you on. We definitely got to have you on again soon so we can continue the conversation. When is the next book coming out? Do you have a date yet?
Well, we're trying to get it out in the next couple of weeks because we're doing a CE5, which is Close Encounter of the Fifth Kind, where you actively are getting together to get a craft to come in. We did it 2 years ago in Pine Bush. We had a craft come in. There was 100 people that saw it, even a police officer. And we're going to try to do it again October 2nd in Pine Bush. But hopefully we'll get the book out just before that. And but, you know, you got to do it the right way, not the fast way. And hopefully that'll be that. But, you know, if you want to listen to more paranormal stuff from us, not politics, Inside the Goblin Universe and at Pondbeat and wherever podcasters are, you know.
Go figure. Inside the Goblin Universe and you're inside the Jackal's head.
There we go. We're inside. That's all we know.
We're inside each other. Not in a weird way, by the way.
Yes.
Not in an alphabet community type, but we're inside somewhere.
Yes.
Bryan, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much for spending your time here with me, and the hour flew by too quick. Definitely soon we'll have you back on because you're fascinating. I love not only talking politics, but I want to get into the UFO and other conspiracies.
Definitely.
So, please drop by again soon.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on. It was nice to be on PSN, you know.
You're a gentleman and a scholar, Sir Bryan.
Not really a scholar, but go ahead.
Have yourself a wonderful evening, my friend.
You got it. You too.
Take care.
Bye.
There you go, folks. The great Bryan M. Bowden. Sir Bryan. Stay safe. Stay Kung Flu free. And remember, please do remember, wash your hands whenever you can. Cover your mouth when you go outside. If you're going to sneeze, don't do it on a child's head. It just doesn't look good. But make sure you stay safe, is what I'm trying to say. Stay safe and sound. And come back next week right here on Sunday night at 10 p.m. for more show. Again, angelespino.com if you want to get the podcast. Until next week, folks, good night.